Mel, well, what a start. I mean, a dream start in many senses, especially when you look back to last season.
Yeah, I was delighted. I think the form that we showed throughout pre-season was there for everyone internally to see, and it was then, can we deliver on the first night of the season? And I thought we got off to a slow start, to be honest. I think there was probably some nerves in there, but I think once we got that first goal, I thought we just we went through the gears and finished the game really strongly.
So 6 o'clock start is a good start for you.
Perfect. Let's do it every week. Yeah.
4 different goal scorers as well, and there's some familiar names. So it looks as though you've got a nice blend early doors.
Yeah, I think that's a real strength. Having goal scorers across the team and not relying on just one specific person. And it was a tricky fixture. Sheffield had a point to prove as well, being reprieved back into the league, and it was a potential banana skin for us, so we had to be at the races, and I thought we showed a real professional performance.
And you mentioned last week about Eleanor probably coming back at the weekend. Is there a need to rush her back now when you've seen a result like that?
No, she certainly won't be rushed. She's not quite ready for this weekend, but the team in the squad that was there on Friday night did a terrific job. All got different roles to play, and they certainly played their part.
An enticing prospect this weekend as well, with especially last season's history between the two. The game at the Stadium of Light last year, it was one of those where you had one of those slow starts, 10-15 minutes. But once you established yourself, you're absolutely fine against Birmingham.
Yeah, it's going to be a competitive game. Obviously, they had a good result last weekend as well, and they're probably going to be up there come the end of the season. So we have to be at the races. We want a faster start certainly than what we did against Sheffield, which we spoke about. But I thought defensively we were solid. We have to make good decisions. We have to defend our goal really well. I think the goal that they scored at the stadium last year was gift wrap from us. It came from a mistake in the central area, which good teams will punish you, so we have to eradicate their mistakes and make sure we're really good on the ball.
And even though it's only the second game of the season, are you looking at this game as a potential barometer of the standards you're going to have to reach to be in the top?
Yeah, I think so. We've said we're going to address every game the same. There's no games more important than each other. The next game's the most important, and like you say, we're going to have to be at the races. Birmingham are a good side, we've got some really good players, and we want to continue our winning form, because we've seen it for a good couple of months now. And
the Stadium of Light, and again last season you sort of cracked that one after all the sort of issues beforehand.
Yeah, it's where we want to play. We play a lot of our away games in big stadiums. It's now the norm for us. We do enjoy playing at Everton as well, so we've got a good blend, a good mix, and we're excited to play in front of our home fans this weekend. Cheers.
Just to expand on that point, have you hit the point where it genuinely does feel like how we play at City?
Yeah, it does, and I'm excited for the new players, the 9 new players that we've got to experience playing at the stadium. They've all had previous experience of playing in front of big crowds and in big stadiums, so it's not a concern. But the feel of playing in front of our home fans and in the big arena at the Stadium of Light, it's going to be an exciting time for them.
Was it even the selling point, Matt?
Yeah, I think so. We always take the new players to the stadium. It will be our home eventually as we progress and grow. That's the way the game's going. So, yeah, I think everything about the club's been a big selling point for the new players.
You've got the good start, you've got the points on the board. Every team in history has always got the good start. But from your point of view and your staff's point of view, what are the benefits that you see from a good start, so to speak, in that great result?
I think you just want to continue a habit. The winning is a habit. It's a feel good. They've been buzzing this week in training. We've just come in there from torrential rain on the training pitch. Everyone's in good spirits. Everyone's excited. You have to be consistent with how you train and what we deliver to them during the week. They're fully aware of how we want to play. So yeah, just the consistency of what they do week in, week out will continue hopefully, and we'll get good results.
The first 5 or 10 minutes were a little nervy, but after that you were very good value for it, and I thought you spoke a lot about Reay and Roberts before the game last week, and obviously defensive stuff speaks for itself, and I thought their composure on the ball, that looks like a massive addition to what we can do as a team.
Yeah, we I mentioned it kind of before the game to them that, that opening 15 minutes is not going to be perfect. You're not going to play the Sunderland way straight away. You have to feel your way into the game, and you might have to play for territory a little bit and put Sheffield under pressure, and probably didn't quite do that the way I wanted. We tried to play, and the few misplaced passes sent Sheffield on the attack a couple of times, but once we kind of got a foothold in the game, I thought we showed some real quality. We had some really good chances that we created that we probably didn't finish, but the build up and the way we want to play was really good. And yeah, Raza obviously capped up a good debut with a really important goal just after half time as well, but I thought she was a class act. I thought she was solid.
And also Grace's goal didn't have saves to make, but I thought her aggression from set pieces was really noticeable, how kind of confident she was and how aggressive she was. Is that something that you saw in Grace when you were recruiting her, that kind of confidence and that aggression is such a big part of the game?
Yeah, I think she's obviously had a good career. She's got she's had a lot of experience at different clubs, and she's got a lot of pitch personality. Grace, she's really loud, really vocal. She came in and everyone was like, bloody hell, like, who's this? Like shouting behind us. She makes people defend. She's very organised. And ultimately, if you can organise people in front of you, you don't have anything to do. But what she did do, I thought she did very well.
And lastly, you could go through every player, but I thought Katie Watson in particular, I just thought Sheffield United just did not ever seem comfortable at any point in the game. And I just wondered your thoughts on Katie's progression and how pleased you ever see her take that opportunity. She's obviously been knocking on the door for a long time, but I felt like a real statement performance from her to take that chance in the first of the season. Yeah, as I said, I didn't think Sheffield United could live with her really for most of the game.
Yeah, she's super strength at pace. And she's had a really good pre-season. She's come back in good form. She scored 4 goals in pre-season, so she's fully deserved her start. She gets to around 60-70 minutes and she probably runs out of gas a little bit, so we have to kind of manage her in their moments, but her contribution in the first half was very, very good.
With the greatest respect to Sheffield United, does Sunday feel like it's going to be a barometer of where you're at the moment? Because I think everyone would expect Birmingham to be knocking on the door of the top 2, which obviously you would like to try and do as well. Does this feel like it's going to give you a real sense of where the team's at?
I think so, yeah, I do think so. I think we have to be at our best. I think it might be our hardest test to date so far in terms of maybe what we've encountered pre-season as well. So we're excited to go toe-to-toe with probably one of the better teams in the league, and like you say, to gauge where we're at and where we need to maybe strengthen and continue to develop. Perfect.
I guess just off the back of that, ridiculously early, I know, but where do you sense the kind of strength of the league is this year, and how competitive it's likely to be up at that top end for obviously the promotion spot?
Who knows? Like you said, it was one game. There was some big score lines.
Yeah.
I do think the league is very unpredictable compared to the Super League One.
Yeah.
I do think any team can beat anyone on any given day, so it's about how you turn up and about how what you do on the grass in order to get the result, I suppose. But I think as we get in maybe 3-4 weeks and we see where people are in the table, you'll have a little bit more of a gauge on who's where in the league standings, I suppose.
Yeah. And off the back of that, I guess, where do you feel the kind of gap between WS1 WSL2 is in terms of teams moving up and down?
I still think it's probably quite big.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of experience in the top flight. There's a lot of full senior internationals in these teams. A lot of foreign players recruited into the top teams.
Yeah.
I do still think there's a bit of a gulf. I think you'll get a good gauge in the cup competitions, but then people do tend to rotate, so then it's sometimes hard to gauge. But I do certainly think there's still a gap between us and the top flight.
And just off the back of what Nick was saying, is it pleasing in a way that the novelty of the Stadium of Light has worn off? Because it must help you that it's, we're kind of past the point now of it being a thing almost, which I know we keep asking you about it, but that must be pleasing in its own way, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you want to play at the big stadiums. We want, we don't want to be the team that just has the little ground and we play in the big grounds when we travel away. So we want it to feel like home, and it took a while to get the win at the stadium, but like I say, the girls want to play there. Like we want to be there. It's much better for the preparation.
Yeah.
And you know, the changing rooms, you know, the quality of the
Yeah,
pitch. It's all better, and now the team feels that little bit more comfortable playing there. Hopefully we can make it a fortress.